This is Alan from Alpus Group to tell you about property investment and development strategy with Alpus. This is video 3 of a series of 6 free training videos entitled Step 2 Preliminary Design and Feasibility. Introduction to Alpus Group. Alpus was founded in Slovenia in 2015 and is based within the European Union and also in the United Kingdom. Alpus operates in the UK, in Europe, that's within and out with the European Union, in the Middle East and in South Africa. About Alpus Group achievements. Alpus Group has property assets in the UK, in Europe and beyond. Alpus has a track record of project management success over many years for commercial and publicly owned clients. The Alpus Group culture is to create property wealth through the application of project management, technical and financial expertise and resources towards leveraging additional value on its assets. Ethos. Alpus Group applies its expertise in technology for the benefit of its customers and shareholders. This is me, Alan Edwards, the Managing Director. I've got extensive experience in the management of property development and infrastructure projects in the UK and internationally. I started working at 16 years old for a building contractor in Hampshire, UK, and I've worked for contractors, top-tier consultants and clients. See references and testimonials. Alpus Group sees opportunity in the UK property market during the next 3 to 5 years in the following sectors: residential property, affordable homes, family accommodation, executive homes, retirement homes, student accommodation, and in commercial property through changes of use as a result of permitted rights development. We have 3 strategies for property development. That's strategy 1, permitted rights developments. That's conversion of commercial to residential property. That's offices and retail premises that are surplus to requirements that can be repurposed to residential under permitted development rights. Strategy 2 is development and permission for changes of use. So this is seeking planning permission from the local authority for change of use from commercial or industrial to residential, where the residential figures and cost of conversion support this. Strategy 3 is joint ventures with property owners. Approach 1, site acquisition and development of commercial sites for residential under permitted development. Approach 2, site acquisition and development of residential sites for affordable housing and other types such as executive housing, student accommodation, etc. Approach 3, joint ventures with property owners. Our 5-step property investment and development strategy. Step 1, identify sites. Step 2, preliminary design and feasibility study. Step 3, planning permission and site acquisition. Step 4, marketing and sales. Step 5, detailed design and construction. Alpus looks for property development sites from various sources. We pay a commission for introduction of sites that we follow up and complete on. Alpus uses the available internet websites such as Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, etc. And we also use Nimbus maps in conjunction with other methods for information purposes, and Alpus carries out joint ventures with property owners. So our training series consists of the 5-step development strategy. This is video 3, which is step 2, preliminary design and feasibility study. These are our 5 steps. Step 1, identify sites. We looked at that in the previous video. Step 2, preliminary design and feasibility study. This video and future videos will be steps 3, 4 and 5 for planning permission and site acquisition, marketing and sales, detailed design and construction. This is an example site which we have looked at, and we've identified the possibility of developing a clear site at the moment. You'll see the 6 square shapes represent possibly 6 detached houses. This is subject to planning permission. Of course, there's no planning permission on the site at the moment. or it could represent 6 pairs of semi-detached houses, or it could represent 6 blocks of 3-story flats. So there may be different ways of massing the flats, but that could be looked at in another type of analysis. But just for preliminary analysis purposes, what we're trying to do is identify the value of this site to us. So if we looked at preliminary design option 1, 6 detached houses, we look at the area, 120 square metres for each house, the gross development value. So this is the sales value of these houses once we've designed and constructed them, put them on the market. And we're taking the recorded sales nearby, which give us an estimated value of £480,000 per house. 6 houses gives you a total gross development value of £2.88 million. Take off profit, finance and legal costs, which would be approximately 25% of that figure. That's £120,000 per house, £720,000. And the cost of design and building these houses to a good standard, suitable for executives in that area, would be approximately £240,000 per house. The cost of design and supervision is likely to be approximately 10% of that. So this is ballpark figures at the moment until we identify that we want to buy the site for a start and that we can purchase the site and what is it worth to us. So we subtract the costs from the gross development value, which is the sales value, and that gives us a residual value of the land of £720,000. That's 6 plots at £120,000 each. It's a sort of rule of thumb, £100,000 per plot, so slightly over that, but it's good area, and we know that we can get a margin on this development. So we look at the possibility of other forms of development on the same site. Option 2, 12 semi-detached houses. So if we take 600 square feet, that's 60 square metres, semi-detached house, slightly lower value than the detached house, so that's £3,500 per square metre from recorded sales nearby, giving a sale price of £210,000 for each semi-detached house. Gross development value £2.52 million. Less the profit, finance and legals, 25%. Less the cost of design and building is approximately the same as the 6 detached houses. We could adjust that, but for ballpark figures, it's going to be roughly £2,000 per square metre. And that includes the design costs, of course. So that gives us a residual value of land of £450,000. That's what we could afford to pay for this site if we were going to develop these houses. So already we see that it's preferable to develop 6 detached houses rather than 12 semi-detached houses. It gives us a higher gross value, so higher sales value, and the costs are similar, but we get the ability to pay more for the land. Preliminary design option 3, let's assume we looked at 18 flats in 6 blocks. It needn't necessarily be in 6 blocks, it could be different configuration on the site, but for preliminary assessment purposes, we'll assume there are 18 flats of 50 square metres each at a slightly lower value, £3,000 per square metre, which we've established from the recorded sales nearby. That's £150,000 per flat, so a 2-bedroom flat for £150,000. It seems a reasonable figure. 2.7 million. We'd of course check this with local agents as we would the prices that we've assumed for semi-detached and detached houses. We get an average of all of the advice that we received from actual prices and agents' recommendations. I have to bear in mind that agents may be slightly more optimistic in their price assessments because they're hoping that you'll favour them with the order to sell the flats or houses on their behalf. So if we look at this configuration, we've got a gross development value 2.7 million, so slightly lower. We've got the profit, finance and legals, 25%. And we've got a different cost of building here because of the different sizes, which gives us a residual value of land of only 225,000. So we can see that option 1 is the preferable option. And if we look at this in a table here, we've identified this in the table. We've got a higher gross development value on the flats, but we've got higher costs, which means that we actually have less potential for purchasing the site. The best option is the 6 detached houses with a gross development value of 2.8 million, less profit and finance 720,000, design and build costs 1.44 million, which allows us to pay up to £726,000 for the site, and we know that we can make the sort of margin that we need. This is just an illustration of the sort of method that we'd use, so it's not a real example. It's based on a real example we were looking at, but it's slightly amended to simplify it for demonstration purposes. But that's the sort of methodology we'd use when appraising a site. And if we couldn't buy the site for £720,000, then we wouldn't proceed, because it would mean that it would be eroding our margin, eating into the profit, finance and legal costs. And the last thing we want to do is do a whole load of work and not be able to sell the houses for the amount that we'd planned, which results in either breaking even or possibly losing money. So we don't embark down that road. That's the maximum value for the land. We try and negotiate it below that value to give us additional margin. And if it's not feasible, we'll move on to the next development. So that's our modus operandi. If you want to contact me, that's Alan at Alpus Group, or telephone me on 07539141257, or you can book a 30-minute exploratory call with me, and we can go through how we can help you to achieve your property investment and development goals. We regularly do joint venture arrangements, and we also can give you some training about property development. There are a couple of links on the screen here where you can go to either get a free contracts checklist, just some free advice, and then some property development training, which would help you down your development route should you decide to embark on it yourself. Okay, watch out for the next video, which will be number 4. Cheers for now.